we're coming towards the end of a day about creating happy workplaces here at Google. You've spoken with Mark today. Vanessa, perhaps you'd like to introduce yourself and say a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Vanessa King. I'm a board member of Action for Happiness. I lead on the positive psychology side, that's my background, and also in our work with organisations and how do you put this practically into organisations, how does it make a difference? Yeah.
And being controversial, does it work?
Yes, it does actually. I don't think it's easy, and it's not necessarily about the kind of surface, superficial things. It's about lots of small things that make a big difference, and it's also looking at the way organisations are designed, what through the processes and systems, and how are they supporting this. And I think there's a lot. We're only just starting to scratch the surface of what this means. But one of the areas that I'm very focused on is looking at managers, because the person that makes the most difference to the most people's experience of work day to day is their immediate manager, whatever level you are in the organisation. And if we can get their behaviour to shift and them to take this stuff seriously, I think we can make quite a big difference in creating happier, better, more productive, more creative workplaces.
I guess some organisations are going to be tougher than others to implement this. I'm thinking particularly organisations that are fairly bureaucratic, maybe some public sector institutions. How do you bring about the kind of change you're talking about in those sort of organisations?
Well, I think change works best when you're working at multiple levels, but actually, you can do stuff in your immediate work team, so even with managers can make a difference, and that stuff kind of starts to spread virally. So of course you need to think about the wider and bigger organisation, but sometimes if we get bogged down in that, it means we don't do anything. But sometimes I've seen stuff spread quite virally in organisations because some people are wanting to work for certain teams are getting better results, and so other managers, other leaders start saying, well, what are they doing? I want a bit of that, and so it spreads. So I think, of course, you need to, of course, work at the senior levels as well, and getting them to start thinking about the values of the company, the culture, the way they measure success, the way they reward success, all those, who they hire, all those sorts of things. But actually, that stuff takes quite a lot of time to change. So it's actually also thinking about what can you do in your immediate workplace.
Are there any obvious quick wins that will convince people to set out on the journey?
Well, and some of our work that we've done with managers, some of it's actually very straightforward. What is actually people taking time, not multitasking when their staff come in with a question or a request, actually stopping and looking at their staff and listening, or saying, just got to get this against the deadline, can I come back to you, and going back to them, saying thank you, noticing what people have done, saying hello and saying, how are you, how was your weekend, how are your kids, knowing what's going on in their personal, not in detail, but just knowing enough that are they having a tough time at home, in which case, just show that you know that and you care. I think that goes at those small things it's all about what makes human beings feel good. We're human beings, whether we're at work or outside work. It's just those sort of courtesies that make a difference. So some of the small things that you can do cost nothing.
Okay. Henry's talked about creating a happy movement.
Yeah.
How is a movement like that really going to gather pace and bring others in?
Well, Action for Happiness has been working on this for quite a while, and we're working not specifically with workplaces, but workplaces, communities, schools, policymakers, and I think it's about getting people talking about this stuff, being thought-provoking, occasionally being provocative, getting people using social media to share stuff, going out there and talking to people and doing stuff, helping people do stuff. A lot of what we're about is actually facilitating and enabling people to make a difference. And I think when we're thinking about this as creating happy workplaces, what is it that's going to enable and support people in making a difference?
Okay.
So.
And what would you like to see within Action for Happiness? Are there ways that people can get involved with yourselves?
Well, absolutely. So you can go on to actionforhappiness.org. You can sign up, become a member. Cost nothing. Just want to pledge to make the world a happy place. There's loads and loads and loads of ideas on there, all evidence-based. 10 keys to happier living. There's lots of actions that support those. There's lots of ways of meeting up and connecting with people in your area and whatever that are doing, in your community, in your street, that are doing stuff, and going from there. There's about 90,000 people, I think, now in our virtual community, so it's good. I mean, that's not just workplaces, that's talking about other stuff, so this is a big part. The workplace part is an important part, that's why we're really pleased to be part of this today. But yeah, and it's not just at work, we need to do this in all other aspects of our lives, really. So.